Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday. Great day. Great day ahead. Saturation. Now, perspective is everything on saturation. Let me explain. When we become saturated with something, we become filled up with it, right? Now, it is all in what you allow yourself to do with that, what your perspective becomes. You know, when you hear the phrase, I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired, that is saturation, which means you've allowed yourself to become so annoyed with where and what you're at and what you're doing that's when you change, right? But there's another way. Why wait until you become so overburdened and overwhelmed with something to decide to change? Why wait? You do not have to wait until you reach that place where you cannot cope anymore, that this change is triggered. Why wait for that? See, saturation has those 2 points to it. So learn to observe what you're dealing with. When you begin to feel the overwhelm, change it there. You do not wait for the overwhelm to overwhelm you. Let's go back. We've all heard it. Man, I'm so tired of being this. I'm so tired of being that. Okay. Then polarize yourself. Well, I don't understand how to polarize, Angela. To polarize yourself, you ask the question, what would I be doing if I didn't have this problem? What would my life be like if I did not have this problem? That is how you polarize yourself. Instead of allowing the self to ask the question, oh my God, can it get any worse? I can't, why are things not changing? Do you see the difference between the two when you're talking about saturation? What are you allowing yourself to be filled up with? Overwhelm or freedom? It's like an elastic band. You pull it so much so until it breaks. Then we know that if you overextend the elastic band, it will break. Why wait for it to break for you to change? This is what I'm asking you. Why wait for things to get so dire that you change? You already know. You already know how things can turn out. We do. So why wait until you are so filled up with this, so saturated by it, that you'll say, oh my God, I need to change. Wait, you didn't know at the first onset of discomfort that you needed to change? Why torment yourself? There's nobody else doing it to you. It's clearly your choice. Oh, but if I don't go through this, I won't learn. Wait, what? What do you mean if you don't go through that, you won't learn? You're not baking bread. This is what I want you to see. That you don't have to wait until things crush you to say, I should change. Look at what you're going through. Shoot, look at how long you've been going through it. How much longer are you willing to go through it is the question. This is what I mean by saturation. How long are you willing to go through that thing before you say, I'm going to change? Suffering is not noble by any stretch of the means. I will say it again because I need to hear that. I need to be reminded that suffering is not noble. When you are going through something, you know you don't want to go through it. You know that it is gross. So what do? You look at what you're going through. Just look at it. Acknowledge that bad boy. You know you're going through it. And right there, right on a dime, polarize yourself. What would it be like if I did not have this problem anymore? What would my life be like? That is polarizing yourself. You're flipping it right there, right? You don't stop to analyze, why am I doing it? Why did I do it for so long? Who caused me to do it? You don't have time for that. Why not? Because the more you turn towards that thing that you don't want to be a part of, you keep yourself there. It has a way, right? Let me try and figure it out and solve the problem. Well, why am I like this? Why do I do these things? Who hurt me? Why did they hurt me? You see, every time you face that thing and you look at it and you draw it out, it will encompass you again. And you have successfully polarized yourself in the direction of where you don't want to be. You are now saturated by that thing. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You're saturated by that thing. You know that it hurts. Do you not? So what do you do to relieve that hurt? Polarize, polarize, polarize. Move mentally. How do you move mentally? What would my life be like if I did not have that problem? And you begin to answer that question. Well, I'd be doing this. I'd be doing that. I'd be doing this and this and this and this. And I'd be meeting these kinds of people. I'd be doing this. Oh, but now look at where you've polarized yourself. Towards what? An opening, an opportunity, which now will saturate you in the other direction, where you want to be. So you see, it is not that saturation is good, bad, or indifferent. What have you allowed yourself to be saturated with and by? Because saturation is not bad, it's not good. It just is. It's just a way to be saturated, to be so filled up of what? Whatever you're filled up with, as within, so without. Whatever you allow yourself to be filled with is what you will experience. And you know why. Because neurologically, the brain holds these things so that you can do them again easily and effortlessly. When you look at that and you realize that everything happens easily and effortlessly, it really does. We complain with ease. We celebrate with ease. We do everything with ease. No hardship at all. So what do we do? What do you want to saturate yourself with? What do you want to saturate yourself with? Do you want to saturate yourself with the woe is me? Oh, pitiful me. Do you want to saturate yourself with that? Well, you already know how that's going to turn out, don't you? You already know how that's going to turn out. Or would you like to saturate yourself with, how beautiful of a life can I see? How beautiful of a life can I see? There's a reason why you ask yourself a question. I don't know how scientists will explain it to you. The the neurology behind asking a question. I don't know what they're going to say. I just know that when you ask a question, you get an answer. That's all I know. When you ask yourself, what would I be doing? What would I prefer to be doing? What would I enjoy doing? When you ask that question, you get the answers. You get ideas. The same way you ask, can it get any worse? And then things just seem to get worse. This, it does not matter that you ask a question. What kind of question? What answer do you want? Then that's the question you ask. These are the things that we allow ourselves to become saturated by. Yes? Allow yourself to become saturated by the things that will move you forward, not the things that hold you stuck. Don't ask yourself, oh my God, how am I stuck? Show me how I'm stuck. Don't ask how you're stuck. Seems like a valid question, though. Why is this happening to me? Why am I stuck? No. Look at what you're saturated by. That question, why are you stuck? What would my life be if I wasn't stuck? Now you begin to see yourself being unstuck, not looking at yourself stuck. So now the question is this: why? Why, when you know the outcome, do you still allow yourself, well, just give me a little bit more suffering, Lord, so I can see my value? You do not have to suffer to see your value. You have to open your eyes and see it, though, not suffer through it. And I know, because suffering is such a big part of humanity's existence, that because we see it all the time, we think it's natural. No, it is just a habitual way that we live collectively. Listen, we compare our sufferings. The oppression Olympics. Well, we were treated worse. No, I was treated worse. What? Look at what we've allowed ourselves to become saturated by. Well, as within, so without. So you experienced suffering. We all did. But I'm not here to beat you over the head with mine. And I don't want you to beat me over the head with yours. I want you to see that you don't have to suffer anymore. Polarize yourself. You know, Angela, you make this thing sound so easy. You sit up there on your high horse. I don't have a high horse. I don't even have me a pony. And in Barbados, as we say, when you don't have horse, you ride cow. What I'm trying to say to you, what I am saying to you, you know that suffering is garbage. You know that it does not feel good. So why put up with it? To see how much you can endure? No, polarize yourself. Angela, you keep using that fancy word, polarize. Don't you hear polarization with glasses? In your sunglasses? What you think it means? Hmm. It has a particular way that it makes you see. Hmm. So polarize yourself. How do you polarize yourself? Ask yourself a simple question. What would I be doing if I didn't have that problem? What would I be doing? Ooh, tell me more. What would I be saying? Where would I be going? What would my life be like if it were free of this thing? What happens to you when you ask that question? If you want to give your psyche a personality, your psyche, the moment you ask that question, because every time, whenever you ask, you receive. Doesn't matter what you ask, you'll receive because you asked, period. So when you ask the question, who goes to find the answer? You do. You see, our eyes only see a particular spectrum. Our ears only hear a particular spectrum. You doubt me? Blow that dog whistle. Humans can't hear it. So we are limited in that aspect that we only see within the spectrum that we're in. But that's just the body. Remember, there's something powering the body. What's powering the body? Your awareness that you are in a body. Your awareness that you exist powers you. It's your awareness. It is what is missing when they lower that casket in the ground. The awareness is gone. The body remains, but the awareness is gone from there to somewhere else. The awareness does not stop being aware because it cannot stop being aware. Everything moves. So now that you're aware, when you ask the question, it is the awareness that answers. The awareness is not limited by time or space or colors or sound. It is unlimited. It has the ability, some people call it your higher self. Neville Goddard call it your fourth dimensional self. All of the fancy words, but it is just one thing, the awareness. It is aware of what? Everything. That's why when you ask the question, what would my life be like if I didn't have this problem? What would my life be like? Show me. You know that song. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Right? You might think the song is corny, but look at where it polarizes you. I want to know what love is. Show me. Where do you think you'll be polarized? All of the things that show you the existence of love. So this is where you allow yourselves to be polarized. So when you ask any question, remember, you don't have to open your mouth to ask a question, you know. If any of you had grandmothers, you know they can tell you a whole lot just by looking at you. They don't have to say a word. They can tell you everything just by looking at you. Oh, they make you feel when they're looking. So what do you want to know? Ask. What is it that you want to know? Show me what it would be like to be free of this. I want to be free. What would it be like if I were free? What would it be like if I were living my ideal life? You can already see what it is like not living the ideal life. You already know what that is. You're polarized over there. Polarization happens mentally because the all is mind, the universe is mental. So if you want something, if you want your suffering, remember your suffering is only mental. Oh, Angela, it is? I'm living it as within, so without. If the suffering is mental, well, then so must the physical be. So, what would it be like if you didn't suffer? How would you walk in the world? How would you see the world? Oh, now something bigger begins to unfold. So what direction will you saturate yourself in? You don't have to wait until things get out of hand to change. Look at it and you can see the trajectory. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. You know that if you do this, this is going to happen. Well, they tell you this. They tell you this in their adages, don't they? You lay down with a dog, you're going to get fleas. If you lay down with a dog, you will get fleas. So, do you need to go and lay down with a dog to test that theory? Well, the question is, do you want fleas? Well, I don't like to scratch. Looks like you got problems when you scratching. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you comprehend what I'm saying to you? You do not have to suffer to understand that suffering sucks. It Scientists are telling people that something happens to your brain when you suffer or when you live in a certain type of thing on a daily basis. They tell you the brain, something happens with the brain. Because as within, so without. As within, so without. So today, you do not have to the wire, to the limit, to the wall. You don't have to go through all of that. Just ask yourself, what would I be doing? Oh, what would I be doing? Oh, I want to see what I'd be doing. And the minute you start asking what I would be doing, you begin to get the answer. You begin to see the possibilities of what you can accomplish. The same thing happens if you ask, why can't I ever get ahead? Why can't my life change? If you ask, you will be answered. So ask what you want to know. You see how we allow ourselves to become so saturated by things that we think we have to go through it and come through it to prove ourselves. Pay your dues. And do you know why they tell you to pay your dues? Do you understand why they say that? You got to learn how to wash these toilets before you can do something else. Because when you're, it is the mentality of the person washing the toilets. If you wash those toilets and you plot your revenge, what are you going to do when you stop washing toilets? Well, you're going to be full of vengeance. But if you wash those toilets and you begin to see how far you can go in life, and that washing a toilet is just step A. By the time you come out of washing toilets, your character has been developed. So all they want you to do is to develop your character. So then that should tell you we do develop our character. What do you want to become? What do you want to become? Because you could have two people washing toilets, and one is going to be whatever, and the other is going to be completely different. What makes them different? The perspective, that what they saturate themselves with as they are washing toilets. You see, we look as beneath me. That is so menial. Oh, I deserve better. Nobody's arguing with you about what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Deserve is just a word. But if you observe what you are like as you do what you are doing, where are you polarized? What are you allowing yourself to be saturated with and by? Oh, but Angela, nice people get walked all over. Nobody's asking you to be nice. Nobody's asking you to do that. Look at that mentality. Well, if I'm nice, I'll get trampled. So I gotta be tough so I can walk on people. Oh, you see what we forgot right there? As within, so without is what we forgot. If you foster and develop unconditional love and kindness within yourself, who will you meet? Mina, I'm just asking for a friend. As within, so without. We think we have to harden ourselves. You realize that when you harden yourself, you are reacting to the outside world and allowing the outside world to mold and shape you within. Do you want to be molded and shaped, or do you want to be the one molding and shaping yourself? So, what are you saturating yourself with? Hmm? Well, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be nice. Nice people get trampled on. Nice guys finish last. That's society, because society's out here saying, know your enemy's thumb screws. Well, sure, you create an enemy, there will be one. Where do you think it comes from? As within, so without. That reminds me of that line from The Matrix when he says to Morpheus, when Agent Smith says to Morpheus, I'm saturated by it. It's just the way he says it that he can't stand being in it. So you don't have to wait until things get to be so unbearable that you'll change. Know from the get-go that, hey, what do I want to become? What do I want to become? Oh, but Angela, what if it's not possible for me to become it? The question that was asked was not, do you think it is possible? Now, allegedly, allegedly all things are possible. Do you know what makes all things possible? You do. Well, how do you make things possible? As within, so without. The atomic bomb did not always exist. Smith and Wesson and Colt 45, they didn't always exist. Penicillin didn't always exist, right? What made it possible? Somebody looked at where they were. They looked at where they were and they said, what would it be like if I did not have this problem? And they saw how to fix it. Naturally. You use what is yours at your disposal. You stare at suffering too long. Remember, cumulative effect, yes? You stare at that bad boy too long, you'll keep it around. So you don't have to be broken. And that's such a thing, you know? It's such a thing. When we've been so conditioned to believe that we're somehow broken and we need to be fixed. I keep telling you, the moment that you can allow someone to convince you of anything, where does that leave you? You must be the one to look at your life right where you're at and decide right there. Well, 1 week of hardship is too much. What would I be doing if I did not have that problem? I'd pull a Julie Andrews. I'd be on the mountaintop somewhere talking about the hills are alive with the sound of music. You understand what kind of freedom that is? To be up on the mountaintop, swishing your skirt or your pants with suspenders in the Alps, and you're just flitting through the beautiful flowers. Can't you imagine that beauty for yourself? Oh, it seems so corny. But Angela, if we didn't have hardship, we wouldn't grow. Growth is inevitable. Why? Because everything moves, nothing stands still. So you are going to learn regardless. You're going to learn regardless. Some people who go through severe hardship, they come out one way. Some people who go through hardship come out another way. We all know people. And I've told you my grandpappy's story many times. And I always asked him, why did you not end up like that? He said, because I got my own mind. Clear as day, because I have my own mind. I can decide what I want to be. That, my beautiful friends, is the art of polarization. Turning your attention from what you're currently dealing with, you know what you're dealing with, so you don't need to be looking at it all the time. You know what it is. You're living it. But take the time mentally and move yourself. I like Neville. Neville says, you can ask it, you can say, "Ah, isn't it wonderful?" The moment you ask yourself that, isn't it wonderful? You turn yourself in a different direction. Is it not wonderful? What? Then that's up to you to answer that portion. That's the point. We prolong things far, far too much. So today, as we go out into this world, look at your life. Don't get mad at it. Shoot, just look at it. Just look at it. Because remember what happens. Judgment blinds the eye and deafens the ear. Because it's like, I heard this guy say, because he's a scientist of some sort, I heard him say, when you look at something, it has a name, you've already judged it, right? You've already judged it. You look at it, you're like, oh, right? You've already judged it. If I say red and you don't like the color red, you're like, ugh, can't stand red. I didn't ask if you like it or not. Just watch, just look at red. Just look at it. If you go to a party, you have that favorite song that when it comes on, man, you elbows start flying and you make your way to the dance floor. Right? Why? Because that's my jam. That's my song. Why? It makes you feel a particular way. But what if you didn't dance? Just all you did was listen. I'll tell you something I discovered. Because I know me. Whew. You know this song, right? You, I would die for you. I never liked that song. I love me some Prince. Darling, if you want me to, I would die for you. I always used to say, wouldn't it be better if I just lived for you? What would dying prove? That was me judging the song. But the other night, as I had my music playing, the song came on, and something said, don't change it. I'm not your lover. I'm not your friend. I am something you can never comprehend. I was like, wait, what? No need to worry, right? I'm like, wait, I'm not your lover. I'm not your friend. I'm something you can never comprehend. I said, whoa. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, tell me more. And I just listened to that song without judgment. I was like, wait, what? What have I been missing this whole time? And as I began to listen to the lyrics for the first time, I realized there was something far deeper going on in the song. hmm I would die for you. I was like, wait, so what does that mean? Now, if you've read anything, the spirit that's in the body, yes? That's you. That's you. It put itself there. It put itself there. Well, I didn't put it there. It put itself there. And look at what we do with it. But yet it keeps saying, I'm here. And it just ever so gently and softly whispers to you, softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. Don't clutch your pearls because I said Jesus. Relax. What I'm saying to you is this. We've allowed ourselves to become saturated with stuff. Hi, sweetie. With so much stuff. But what would it be like? What would it be like if you were living your ideal? I can't tell you what your ideal is. That's not my place. You have to know what your ideal is. What do you want? Yeah, but if I want this, I didn't ask you what other people will think of you. You see, what makes us stop doing what we truly love is the opinions sometimes of others. And we allow the external to do something it was never designed to do. The external is not there to be your guide. The external is a reflection. Whose reflection? That's right, a little bit. Your reflection. And it's very interesting. You see it all around you. I know I've been seeing it a lot lately because You know, me a little bit. We've been at a little bit of odds lately because he says I'm the boss of this space. And I say, no, I'm the boss of this space. But as with Ian, so without. So I went in that room and I was tidying up like I normally do. And I heard that too. But I also heard, just relax yourself. Relax. And wouldn't you know, I got to pick up my feller like old times. I got to kiss him like old times. Why? Because I, I did what? I relaxed. I changed my internal environment and I watched the external change to match in real time. So now, when I go in there, I know he is territorial because that's their nature. But I also know if I walk in there with an attitude that is not conducive to ease and relaxation, he will show me. He will. And that's how the rest of the world works. So when you ask yourself, what would it be like if I did not have that problem anymore? What would I be doing? What attitude would I have? Now the world begins to mold and shape itself. And you know what they call that unseen part that you can't see? Unseen that you can't see. Wow, Angela. You know, they call it the quantum field. I'm like, I don't know what quantum means. All I know is what is within me, I will project it outside. And that mental attitude, that mental image that is projected externally will mold and shape itself. I know it will mold and shape itself. You don't have to tell me what that thing is that molds and shapes it because the moment you name it, you just need to know that it molds and shapes itself. And how do you know? You're holding a phone. Nikola Tesla had that idea. He said, "Ooh, there is a way for me to see you and hear you over long distances." And we got a phone 150 years later. So, how did it go from imaginary to taking shape? Obviously, something molded it and shaped it together and held it together. Something. I know that it's there. Anyway, what are you going to saturate yourself with? I got to suffer to make it? No. I got to prove myself? No. What do you want to become? Saturate yourself with that. What mental attitude do I want to walk through the day with? Saturate yourself with that. Why? Because saturation, like a pendulum, goes both ways. You will always see what you're saturated with. So choose wisely what to be saturated with. I'm listening to my son who's down there singing. He's down there singing. Lord have mercy. This time of the morning, they both singing. That's what they doing. You want peace? What is the mental attitude of peace? Saturate yourself with that. Don't be like my granny. Man, you couldn't worry as much as she could. She could out worry you. hmm She could out worry anybody. Nasty habit, that. What would my life be like if I did not worry? What would I be doing if I didn't worry? How would I be living if I didn't worry? Well, we know what worry does, right? We know how worry makes us feel. Well, I don't want to worry anymore. My grandmother taught me how to worry. So if I don't want to worry, I made ways. I said, okay, mentally, people who don't worry, what are they? There's a level of security. What is the mental attitude of security? Well, when you walk down the street, there ain't no hurry. It is leisurely. Why? Because you're not in a hurry to get anywhere. You know it'll be there. So you take your time and you enjoy the sights. That's the mental attitude. Saturate yourself with that mental attitude. And something happens when you're saturated, by the way. Depending on what you're saturated with, you will act accordingly. Like a teeter-totter, a seesaw, what we call it. You know how kids, one's on the left and one's on the right? That's polarity in action. When you watch two kids on a teeter-totter, that's polarity. Both kids sitting on the sides. And they keep tipping, tipping. One adds more weight, it tips. So when something becomes incredibly full or heavy, it tips, it moves. So what I've been trying to say to you all morning is, are you going to wait for things to get real heavy to move? Or will you mentally move? Mentally move. Because that's the path of least resistance. And how do you mentally move? What is the mental attitude of who you want to become? You know, when people tell you you don't get what you want, you get what you are? That is the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. If you are an orange, water's not going to come out when I squeeze you. So you can't get what you want. You get what you are, because as within, so without. So to get what you want, you must become it. How do you become it? By walking in the mental attitude of it. Because people ask, well, how do I become a house? How do I become a car? How do I become a relationship? What is the mental attitude of having the car? What would my life be like? How would I behave if I had that car? Your mental attitude is what now you become. And what you become inside is what you experience on the outside. So today, my beautiful friends, whatever it is you are saturated with internally, you cannot be surprised. There are no surprises. Well, every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause, and as within, so without. So how can there be a surprise? You already know. Anyway, I don't want to holler. So you can see your situation. You can see your present situation. Look at it. You see it. You know what it is, right? Good. Now, what would your life be like without that? Turn yourself in that direction and answer those questions. Saturate yourself with that. Why? Because when you saturate yourself deliberately, you are now the one bearing down on the teeter-totter to make it change. You're saying, nah, I don't have to be that. So I'm going to put the weight over here, as opposed to waiting for the weight to move you. You're not at the mercy of the weight in more ways than one. You're not at the mercy of the weight. You rule the weight by being deliberate. Anyway, I said what I said. Um, who's here this morning? Let's welcome everybody. Yes? Ooh, hey, Cyber. Long time no say hey to you, son. It's good to see you. Melly Mel is in the house. Hey, girl. I see you. Ooh, Solo Breezy. Beloved Love Troll. Oh, it's symmetric. Ow. Listen, Twitter is bumping too. What? Twitter is bumping. Normally it's tumbleweed Twitter, but what? Twitter is bumping today. You know I love that. I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. Who's here on Fanbase? Ooh, I had to scroll to see everybody. Commander is in the house. Yes, sir. My sweet KZ is here. Oh, I'm happy is in the house. Miss McQueen. Scotch Bonnet is in the house. Big Mike is in the house. Man, I can't even drop my voice that low. Big Mike. Ray Ray is in the house. Hey, man is in the house. Well, there's a stranger. There's a stranger. I see you, baby. It's good to see you. There you go. That's what I will tell you. That's what I will tell you. This beautiful, glorious day. Jesseman was here too. Wow. I didn't see Jesseman, but he was here and he left something in the chat. He said, hey, positively. So, what are you saturated with? Are you so saturated that you break yourself, or deliberately keeping yourself whole? You see, there is only wholeness, my friends. So don't wait until things get so bad that don't wait until things get bad. When you begin to see things wanting to go in that direction, flip it. I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. You know what? Don't even. Yeah, you put that thing down. You flip it. And you polarize yourself in the direction of what? What would it be like if? Oh, if? Yes. If. Oh. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? Saturate yourself in that direction. Polarize yourself in that direction. And watch as your world, bends and molds itself. To do what? Match you as within, so without. Anywho, I am done with the chitter chatter. I have gone way too long this morning. But you do know that I love you. Yes? Yes, I do. What are you going to do today? What are you going to do today? That's your question. Carry on as you are or deliberately change? Seems like an easy thing, isn't it? Angela, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So because everybody's not doing it, that makes it hard? Oh. Perhaps it just means that they don't know yet. You can only do what you know. Hello? Anywho, enjoy this glorious day, my friends. And today's the 2nd? In 19 days, the days get longer. Yes, they do. More light. Hello? More light in 19 days. Oh, yes. You know I'm looking forward to that. Anyhow, Yoda Green is in the house. I love you all. I do. And just know that. Just know that. I love you. Mwah. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ow. On the morrow, my beautiful friends.